So this is my presentation this evening, this afternoon, sorry, for you. Actually, this is a paper. Do some? This one? Thank you. This is a further development actually of my paper I present 2 weeks ago in Indonesia, in ABC 17. And some of you may have heard a part of this, but I want to develop it further today. And okay, as an introduction, I think you people have my English copy of this one. Huh? If you don't have, please somebody get the paper outside here. Anyway, because of time shortened, so I just read over this printout here for you, and if you have any question or any problem, please reach out to that. Now, as an introduction, I would like to remind you about ethics. Actually, it's a discipline started officially about 50 years ago. That means in the 60s of the last century. Okay. So historically, bioethics has adopted its name from a branch of environmental ethics. It was called at that time as meaning the ethics for survival. Okay, by somebody doing environmental experiment for them. But then we took over the name, and it became a special name for bioethics. Okay. So environmental ethics also a main branch of so-called applied ethics today. The two become, in a certain sense, separate in the next 50 years or so. But now, according to my understanding of both of these disciplines, they seem to be merged again. Okay. Why? Simply because environmental ethics, of course, concerning about life. Sorry. Okay. This is my outline. Okay. I'll talk about these 6 topics for you. But because for the convenience of some of my audience, I also make a Chinese translation of the topics. So this is a kind of both English and Chinese version together. Okay, but for those who are so well versed in English, you may just read this handout, and I will show more in the Chinese for the audience. Okay. So as an introduction, I want to remind you of the history of bioethics. Okay, I just said that bioethics is originally a name used by an environmentalist, and he coined this term. Though this term may have some older roots somewhere, anyway, but what is relevant for our study bioethics is starting from the late 60s. Okay, actually, he coined this term original meaning survival ethics. Okay, actually, the survival is survival for Homo sapien, for human being. Okay, but after these 50 years, we seem to be merged again. I think one of the important things is because environmental ethics also concerns with bios, with life, with species. Though they are species in an encompassing way, but while bioethics, because bio, also concerning life, but bioethics a little bit narrowed down into the talk of human being. But now after 15 years, because of the environmental problems, and it's largely related with human being, especially the population of human beings. So, in the last 10 years or so, many bioethics conferences also have the topics we usually call the environmental issues. Especially one of the hot topics is population. Why? Because human population become a great threat to our survival. Okay. So I think maybe we have to think about what bioethics means and how we are going to do bioethics in the next 30 or 50 years to come. Okay. Okay. Now, the first section of my paper I try to present to you from one point of view, first from the individual to the species. Okay. Then later on, I try to argue in two ways. Why bioethics from the individual orientation have to take into consideration the whole species or even all life on Earth. That would be environmental things. And on the other hand, environmental ethics issues, so they usually encompass the whole world. Everybody on every country. Sorry. Environmental ethics also encompass every life on Earth anyway. But when we have to take actions, it's still the individual itself or himself or herself taking actions. Okay, that means in practice, environmental ethics also needs to redress or address the individuals, and that's why I would think that bioethics may be in the future need to consider what I call the micro aspect or ethics and the macro one. Micro means the individuals. Macro means the whole world. Okay. But there would be a certain complications here. Now, so my first session is to talk about from the personal well-being to species survival. Now, basically, in bioethics, there's a mainstream of ethics or theory. Okay, usually we call the principles. But behind this is a basic, sometimes we say ideology of the West. That is the liberal individualism. Okay. And in bioethics, they usually call this moral individualism. Okay. Two of the very famous scholars in this field is Peter Singer. You think about that. Peter Singer and Tom Regan, and a number of others, including the principals, okay, Tom Wiltshire and James Travis. Okay. Now, but I think the moral individualism is not just because it's westernized or anything. It's still very reasonable. Okay, I try to present to you that moral individualism is a very, indeed, theoretical, very good theory to account for our personal actions. Okay, and this is very important in bioethics. Why bioethics? Because usually something concerned about the patient and whatever happened to the patient. Okay, that is the question. And the other party would be the family or the physician or professional, medical professional, they are also individuals. Okay, more individualism has this advantage. They could take care of what those people involved in ethical matters. Okay. So according to moral individualism, okay, so the individual is the subject of, okay, and usually they can't get pain and pressure for the individual. And of course, they think that the suffering would be a simple summation of all the suffering of the individual concerned. They have nothing over or below that. Okay. I think this is a reasonable way in our ordinary treatment of bioethic problems. Now, but we still have another part of our moral vision in bioethics. But because when we're treating personal well-beings or sufferings as individuals, we should not forget that individuals are also individuals in society. We are not atomic individuals. We are related with different parties, different members. One of those most intimate, you may say, community or society is our family. Okay, family is usually those that concern us most intimately, and their benefits and well-being actually could not be totally separate from we ourselves. But when it comes to the macro thing, if you know anything about environmental ethics, one of the very famous theories is land ethics. This guy, Leopold, actually he made a kind of innovative thinking some almost 100 years. Anyway, at least 80 years or so, because he wrote the book, The Almanac of Descending County, and he raised a new conception about doing environmental understanding. That is, when you think about environmental issues, you could not just taking individuals into account, because what happened in environmental ethics usually in a large scale. Okay, I will think more about this later on. This is the time transition. Now, the thing is, for example, we are talking about global warming. Okay. Global warming actually is causing and would be causing a lot of disasters to us. Very important. Okay. But global warming is not done by any one person or any one nation or even any one generation. It is an accumulation of 100 years, or even you would say starting from the 17th or 18th century, it would be over 300 years ago. Okay. So when you suffer today, you could not say who is responsible for that. Okay. You may say, oh, our forefathers are responsible. Okay. So we need to take a macro view of this kind of issues. This is the English translation of that. Now, this is some of the reasons or examples I try to raise to convince you that the macro issues need a different conception of bioethics, doing bioethics. We take this in part of bioethics now. Okay. Now, my basic idea is ethics is always action in interaction between individuals. Ethics seems, except in some specific cases. I will not talk about that. Ethics always related with persons. Okay, you need some interactions. But with interactions, then you need to consider not only the subject or the agent's well-being or even his rights. You have to take into consideration the well-being of others. Okay? This is one of the old philosophers, John Dewey, the American pragmatist, that wrote this very early, even before 100 years ago. Okay? He already talked about that. We are actually an individual in society, and a society is a society for individuals. So I would like to elaborate a little bit why from moral individualism we have lead to the macro problem, and then later on about environmental issues, why we have to lead from macro to micro considerations. I just summarize the basic tenets of moral individualism. Okay. There is each individual counts as one, equally, fair. And then the interest or suffering of the individuals is what to become, and nothing else, according to their understanding. And of course, for moral individualism, individuals' right is basic. That's the most important thing, okay, for that. And the person has moral agents. I think this is common to every ethical theory. And even though they may be more the kind of utilitarian, they also take person as an end in itself, ridiculous. Okay. And then in our history of bioethics, it usually accumulates into the so-called four principles: autonomy, beneficence, benevolence, and justice. Because the principalism is the mainstream of bioethics, and their basic idea is the four principles, right? And we are using some kind of this theory every day in analyze our situations. And then I would like to tell you some implications from holism. So we have a line that closely interconnected with both genetically and biologically. Biological, of course, we are only one species, all the life on Earth. Okay. Genetically, actually, we make very little difference between species. Okay. Our difference with monkey in genetic terms is no more than 5%. Okay. That's why sometimes we talk about in genetic ethics. If we try to enhance or change our genetic components, there may be a risk that would make our offerings, our sons and daughters into another species. Like we have the monkeys and the human being today. Okay. So this is also a kind of global thing, not just related to you and me, or related my father and me, or my son. But ecologically, we are all in some local and ultimately holistic interdependence. What I mean is, we are all in some local ecological system we are living around. Okay, and we have some effects on the environment. There are, of course, a lot of effects on our well-being. Okay, but we ultimately become a holistic. interdependent system. You cannot get away from the well-being of the whole world. Okay? And of course, this is one of the Homo sapien, one species. We don't have special status. We have some different status, but may not be the kind of absolute status, you may say. Okay? And we have a common fate in survival. So we have rights and duty with each other in a closely related way. We have to deliver duties, that's important, in our limited personal actions. And the natural way is to adopt an expanding circle-like manner. Okay? That we start from a person to a family, to a society, to state, and then to the whole world. And holistic obligations, that means our obligation to other societies, to the whole other species, according to holism, is no less important than our personal rights and well-being. That's important. That's the main difference between holism and moral individualism. Okay? Because our well-being is bound together. So from the individualism, we have somehow read into a consideration of the macro problem, the holistic thing. And also, I would like to argue from the holistic conception of the whole world, we somehow dependent on the individual's action. Okay. Now, then my point is, of course, how to integrate the two different standing points. Okay. That is how from individual well-being, we have to lead to consideration of some global thing, and from the survival of species as a whole, we have to consider some local individual actions. Okay? I'm trying to say, in between, we may have a kind of, or we need a kind of integration between the two standpoints. And I try to list, if I could, some basic principle of integration. And in this, I would like to raise some examples why I have the reason to think about that. So, from the individual well-beings, why we have lead into a kind of collective or communal consideration. Just for one example, like public health problems. Public health problems, of course, concern everybody, but it could not just because certain consideration of the individual. So we have to consider the whole society. Okay. Sometimes Roman Daniel would like to express this as healthcare is a kind of justice. When we talk about a kind of justice, it's kind of social justice. Okay. It's no accidental that poor people usually have more disease and the health conditions are worse than the rich ones. Okay. Now there's some kind of social justice behind it. Okay. Now even in usually bioethics, moral decisions, though the patient decision may not be the best sometimes, but because the patient is the subject in charge, okay. And he is the subject that need to be treated with. So it's natural that we should respect his decision, unless where some kind of important consideration, even concerning himself or the community at large. Okay. For example, in SARS, say, science, of course, is something very important for the patient, but it is also very important for the whole society, community. So we cannot just because we respect his right, and that's final. Okay, we need to consider the whole community together, and even not this kind of contagious disease. According to my understanding, now ordinary medical decision, your intimate family members, his or her well-being or benefit need to be considered. Okay? So sometimes I think I'm happy to hear about Bioethics thing about even in Indonesia, family. It's a very important part of it during medical decision for the patient. It's the same in Taiwan or Asian countries. Even in America, some feminists, at least, some feminists will argue that the kind of intimate relation needs us to reconsider the concept of autonomy. Okay? The mainstream concept of autonomy in the West is individual autonomy. And the feminists say they have reason, and we agree that relation, intimate relation, has something to do with the autonomous decision of patient. So they raise it the new concept of relational autonomy, not just individual autonomy. Okay. I give you one of my favorite example. Actually, this is a case presented in Shui-Chuen and Trius text because it's about medical ethics. Okay, this is a case in America talking about a family of 5 actually, a father, mother, and then 3 children. The 2 of them are very young, or just 1 or 2. They have a 5-year-old daughter. Now the daughter had been faded in kidney failure, and had been waiting on this organ donation for 2 years or so, and then she is coming to the end. Okay, without organ transplantation, she will die within 3 months or so. Now the family go to check who is compatible. The mother is incompatible. The father is compatible. But she didn't want to donate one of his kids to save his daughter. Okay. Now, my case is that unless the father has good reason to refuse to donate his kidney to save his dying daughter, otherwise he had to come with the duty to donate his kidney. Even you will see the case. What happened? The father has asked the daughter, the physician, don't tell that I am compatible with my daughter. Okay, that means don't tell that I don't want to donate my kidney to save my daughter. Why? Because if you say that, my family will broken up. Okay, my family will broken up. It becomes the dilemma of the doctor, whether he has to protect the patient by giving confidentiality of the situation, or to lie to the family. Okay. According to understanding is very strange, because it should not be the more problem of the physician, it's the more problem of the father. Okay. My critique is that you could not enjoy the benefit of a family and at the same time to share the duty as a family member. Okay? And you could not treat your daughter as a stranger. Okay? As a stranger. Okay? Because you don't want to. And you could do that. For a stranger, of course, we could not force you to do that. Even for a daughter, we could not force you to do that. But you have the greater responsibility or duty towards your daughter, not as a stranger. Okay? So that's why we see that even in bioethical issues, individualistic way of thinking is not ultimate. Okay? You need to concern your closely related families. And of course, we could easily expand this into a larger and larger whole community. Okay? Even ultimately, you have everything to do with the whole world. Okay? You cannot say something. I just like to pollute my house, then it's okay. It's my house, my property. Okay. But your house is also part of the community, part of the house of the whole world. Okay. You are also polluting the whole world. And you may have other things. Now another thing is about from the macro into the micro considerations. So, because collective and cooperative actions are usually needed in order to have success in such issues. For example, to reducing the release of carbon dioxide. It would not be effective if just you and me reduce the release of carbon dioxide. We need the whole world to do the same thing. Okay, but the simple fact is, action is always particular action taken by the individual actors. You and me have to do it individually. So that's why many of the actions or the projects fighting against global warming will not be successful because some people doesn't want to do it. Okay? And because of the newly elected American president, Donald Trump, it's the argument that he would not follow this kind of reducing carbon dioxide. But you know how much the effect? It will cost 30% of the total reduction of carbon dioxide. That's America. It would doom to fail if Americans really don't do anything about that. Okay. So my point is, ethical action could not be atomistic. Okay? It must be interactive and have certain kind of collective participations. So I try to say something like that actually, we are individual, we have certain kind of unity, and ultimately, conceptually, I would like to say that we would be some kind of oneness, or in Chinese, this is basically Chinese way of thinking. 以天地万物为一体, we are one with all things on earth, even the whole universe. Because time is short. So I've tried to list as best I could some of the basic principle of integration. I tried to do fairness to both kinds of conceptions. And I'm not sure whether it will satisfy to everybody. So I would say that we have a moral community first. We should consider this. The second one, consider family, and then considering and kind of expansion and inclusion. We are thinking. Now, from each one of these subtitles, I'd like to list a certain kind of principle as far as I could think. Say the principle of survival, that is, we should more or less adopt a kind of egocentric naturalism. I call naturalism. Okay. Unless we find some kind of crisis or dangers with the actual development. Otherwise, nature is still our best guide. And then the principle of due respect of life. That is, equal consideration interest of every individual or all species. Now, I would like to remind you, these principles, of course, you know they come from Fritzinger. Okay? But even Fritzinger, when I say equal consideration, does not mean equal treatment for all. Okay? Treatment has to be accounted further. But we should give everybody, every species, every line, equal consideration. Okay? And then the principle of precaution, avoid doing harm. Actually, avoid taking too much risk. Okay? A little bit more conservative. It will be better. And then ultimately, I would say we need the principle of forest. Because by doing ethics, you're able to every species, every line will forest. This is a translation of this. Okay? Now, the second part is about the family as the basic core of moral community. That is seems obvious for us, again, even for the Asian nations. Sometimes we talk about it in the West. Okay? Because in the West have been long versed in individualism. But the second part is about expansion and inclusion. Okay. I just give a little bit of this. Actually, at first I think I would have time to talk about some of those issues. Why they need to be considered in both ends. That's from the individual and also from the community at large. Maybe lastly about, I think, according to my understanding actually, because I'm in confusion. So, with respect to different cultures and religions need to be taken into considerations. That is actually this one of the basic principles in Confucianism. You know that is the difference. And then another is we need to base upon our compassion towards sufferings of others. This would be the ultimate ground for our moral judgment. And thank you very much.
Since Professor Lee is very excellent lecture talking about the conception of the bioethics. We can allow a couple of questions from the audience. Okay, Professor Lee, I can ask if the nation leader, based on his national profit, and have against some moral community concept, such as economic global warming, as you mentioned, what we will do, just let the leader insist on his concept to against the moral community.
I'm not quite I'm not quite sure about your question, but the thing is we have to take not only human society, even the whole world as a moral community. Why? Because we are moral agents. You could not escape everyone saying, I don't think anything about moral or immoral. No, we have that. And anything come into our consideration.
So we should insist and against some president or leader is some very the concept is wrong. We should fight with it for such a abnormal concept.
Individualism is wrong, and only holism is right. No, holism is only right. Clearly, as many talk about particular individual well-being of man is wrong. No, both integrate. That's why the proper is a proper. How to integrate this secular ethics
Okay, thank you. And time is limited. Thanks, Professor Lee. Is very